If these words have found you today, it is no coincidence. The universe is gently whispering to your soul, reminding you that it's time to release, to surrender, and to trust. Life has a rhythm, a divine unfolding that often asks us to let go, even when we don't fully understand why. But what awaits on the other side of surrender is peace, clarity, and a deep sense of alignment with your true path. Surrender is one of the most profound acts of love you can offer to yourself. It is not about giving up, nor is it a sign of weakness. Rather, surrender is a conscious choice to release control and trust in the divine order of life. It takes courage to let go of the reins, especially when you've been holding on tightly, believing that only your will can shape your experience. Yet, in truth, life moves with a wisdom far deeper than our limited minds can perceive. When you surrender, you acknowledge that you are supported by a loving and intelligent universe. You no longer need to force outcomes or push against the currents that resist your efforts. Instead, you begin to flow with life, trusting that every experience, whether joyful or painful, carries a message, a lesson, and a gift. In surrender, you open yourself to receive these gifts with grace. This act of releasing control requires a shift in perception. Most of us are conditioned to believe that control equals safety. We cling to relationships, jobs, beliefs, and identities, thinking they anchor us in stability. But control is an illusion. The more tightly we grip, the more we suffer. We exhaust ourselves trying to manage every detail, fearing the unknown, dreading change. The truth is, the unknown is where your true self is waiting to emerge. It is in the space of surrender that miracles are born. Surrender invites you to trust, deeply and without reservation. It invites you to lean into faith, to believe that even in the absence of certainty, love is guiding your path. There is an invisible thread connecting you to every moment, every encounter, every transformation. When you surrender, you allow that thread to lead instead of fighting against it. There is profound peace in surrender. Imagine the relief of putting down a heavy load you've been carrying for far too long. Perhaps you've been trying to fix something that's beyond your control, a relationship that no longer aligns, a dream that hasn't taken shape, a fear that keeps you up at night. When you surrender, you release the burden of making it happen in your way, on your timeline. You open the door to new possibilities and invite in what is truly meant for you. Surrender doesn't mean becoming passive or indifferent. It means acting from a place of inner alignment rather than fear. It means trusting your intuition, taking inspired action, and allowing the rest to unfold naturally. You can still have desires, visions, and goals, but you no longer cling to them as if your worth depends on their outcome. You trust that what is meant for you will come, and what is not will gracefully fall away. The beauty of surrender is that it softens your heart. It allows forgiveness, not just of others, but of yourself. It opens the way for love to enter, for healing to begin, for transformation to take root. Surrender connects you to the flow of universal energy, a flow that is always moving toward your highest good, even when you cannot see the destination. Imagine you are standing in a river. You have two choices. You can resist the current, struggle to stay in place, and exhaust yourself in the process, or you can lift your feet and allow the water to guide you gently downstream. Surrender is the lifting of your feet. It is trusting that the water knows where it's going, that the journey will bring you to the exact place you need to be. If you are reading these words now, it may be because life is inviting you to surrender. Perhaps you've been holding on to something that has served its purpose and now must be released. It could be a belief that no longer reflects your truth, a habit that drains your energy, or a situation that has reached its natural end. Trust that letting go does not mean loss. It means making space for what is better aligned with your soul's growth. Take a deep breath. Feel your heart. Feel the truth that lives there. You are safe. You are supported. You are loved unconditionally. The universe is always conspiring in your favor. When you surrender, you say yes to this love. You say yes to peace. You say yes to your true power. Allow yourself to surrender, not because you must, but because you deserve the freedom that comes with letting go. You deserve to live with trust instead of tension, with faith instead of fear. And every time you choose surrender, you take one step closer to your most authentic, radiant, and aligned self. There comes a time in every soul's journey when it becomes clear that holding on is no longer an act of love, an act of limitation. We often cling to people, stories, habits, and situations simply because they are familiar. They feel like home, even when they silently sabotage our peace or keep us locked in cycles that dim our light. Releasing what no longer serves you is not a betrayal of your past. It is a celebration of your present evolution. Life is constantly inviting us to grow. With every experience, we are presented with a choice to stay where we are or to rise into something new. The process of letting go begins with awareness. Sit with yourself and ask, what in my life feels heavy? What drains my energy? What no longer feels aligned with who I am becoming? The answers may not be immediate, but they are already taking shape within your heart. Trust that inner knowing. Releasing is not just about eliminating the obvious things, the toxic relationship, the unhealthy habit, the job that suffocates your soul. Sometimes it's the subtle ties we must break. Outdated beliefs, old identities, the fear of being misunderstood, the guilt of disappointing others. These too must be released. They may have once given us safety or structure, but now they weigh on the wings of our growth. What once protected you might now be holding you back. Letting go does not mean rejecting your past. It means honoring it, gathering the lessons it brought you, and letting the rest dissolve with gratitude. Everything you've experienced has shaped who you are, but you do not have to keep every piece as part of your present. You get to choose. You get to create space for what nurtures your soul now, for what brings you peace, creativity, and joy. There is immense power in releasing. Each time you let something go, whether it's a thought, a memory, a person, or a dream, you are signaling to the universe that you trust what's on the way. You are affirming that your growth is more important than your comfort. You are prioritizing your alignment with truth over the illusion of stability. You are committing to a life that reflects your highest self. Of course, letting go is not always easy. It can feel like standing on the edge of a cliff, looking down into the unknown. Fear may whisper that you will fall apart without what you're releasing. But here's the truth. What truly belongs to you cannot be lost. And what no longer resonates will, in time, feel like a burden, even if you hold on with all your strength. The real danger is in staying stuck when your soul is asking for expansion. Release is not an act of rejection. It is an act of love. A love so deep it refuses to allow stagnation. A love that looks at the past kindly, places a hand over the heart and says, thank you for your role in my journey, but now I choose to move forward. Releasing invites transformation. It opens the door for new blessings, new connections, new wisdom, and new levels of abundance to enter your life. Imagine your life as a garden. If you never remove the weeds, those thoughts, habits, and energies that grow wild and unruly, you deprive your flowers of sunlight and space. You cannot plant new seeds where the soil is overcrowded. By clearing what no longer nourishes you, you become fertile ground for everything your heart is ready to receive. What are you ready to release today? Maybe it's fear. Maybe it's old expectations. Maybe it's self-doubt or resentment. Whatever it is, imagine placing it gently in your hands. Look at it with compassion and say, you served me once. I no longer need you. I release you now with love. Take a slow breath. Feel the lightness in your chest. Feel the freedom that comes when you no longer force yourself to carry what was never meant for your future. Breathe in possibility. Breathe out the past. You are here to expand, to heal, to rise. Releasing what no longer serves you is the first step toward living in full alignment with your truth. This act of healing doesn't just change your inner world, it transforms your reality. It opens the path for greater peace, purpose, and abundance. Let go. Trust that you are creating space for something far more beautiful than anything you've left behind. There is a grace in divine timing that our minds often resist, yet our souls deeply understand. In a world that measures success by how quickly things happen, divine timing whispers a different truth. Everything unfolds exactly when it is meant to. Not a moment too soon, and not a second too late. Trusting this timing requires a shift from impatience to inner peace, from fear to faith, from control to flow. Think of the seasons. No tree questions when spring will come. No flower demands that it bloom before its time. Each one simply follows its own rhythm, nourishing its roots while it waits, knowing that growth is happening even when the surface appears still. You are no different. Even in moments when it feels like nothing is shifting, life is working behind the scenes, orchestrating your transformation with precision. We often believe that our desires must manifest when we want them to. We pray, visualize, take action, and begin to expect results on our timeline. And when they don't arrive, doubt creeps in. We start to question our worth, the process, even our dreams. But the truth is, what is meant for you will always find its way to you. The universe does not forget. It does not lose track. It prepares, aligns, and delivers, just not always when you think it should. Imagine your life as a tapestry being woven by divine hands. Each thread has purpose, each color significance. Even when you can only see the back of the tapestry, where it looks tangled and unclear, know that on the other side, a beautiful pattern is forming. Every delay, every detour, every pause has meaning. Trusting divine timing means you believe that what's meant to unfold is happening, even if it's happening beyond your awareness. Sometimes what looks like a setback is actually a redirection. A closed door may be protecting you from something that was not yours to begin with. A pause plan may be making room for something far better. Think back to moments in your life where something didn't work out the way you wanted. Now look at who you became because of it. Trusting divine timing is trusting that each step, even the painful ones, is guiding you toward your highest self. The universe is generous beyond measure. It is always working in your favor, aligning circumstances, people, and opportunities with your vibration. When you become frustrated with timing, it's often because your focus has shifted from flow to force. When you force things, you deny the divine unfolding. You try to pull what isn't ready or cling to what has already served its purpose. But when you trust, you align yourself with ease. You allow blessings to arrive naturally in their fullness. Patience is not passive. It is an active choice to remain open, calm, and grateful in the present moment. It's a practice of surrender, a continuous affirmation that says, I trust that what is meant for me is already on its way. And in this trust, you find peace. You find freedom from comparison, from urgency, from the need to prove or push. You begin to honor your own life's pace instead of measuring it against someone else's. There is always a divine order at play, even when the surface looks chaotic. You may be waiting for the right relationship, the right opportunity, the right healing, or the right breakthrough. Remember, a seed does not doubt its growth simply because it is underground. It trusts the soil, the darkness, the time. Your dreams are seeded. They are growing even if you cannot yet see the sprout. Let go of the need to control the when. Focus on the what and why. Continue nourishing your inner world, your faith, your joy, your purpose. When you align with your truth, time becomes an ally instead of an enemy. The seeds of your intentions will sprout when the soil is ready, when the sun is right, when you are strong enough to sustain their bloom. So breathe, trust. Know that divine timing is not slow. It is sacred. It ensures that when your blessings arrive, you will be ready to receive them with wisdom, gratitude, and grace. Every moment of waiting is preparing you. Every second is aligning your heart with your highest good. Trust the timing of your life. You are exactly where you need to be. And what you desire is already making its way to you in perfect divine rhythm. The unknown is a place we've been conditioned to fear, yet it is also the space where our deepest transformations take place. To embrace the unknown is to trust the unseen. It is to step beyond the edges of what feels familiar and safe and walk into new territory with faith as your only guide. It's a journey that demands courage, vulnerability, and a willingness to let go of what was in order to make room for what could be. The comfort zone may feel secure, but it can also become a quiet cage. We often cling to what we know, even when it limits our growth, because it feels predictable. There is a sense of safety and routine, even if those routines are unfulfilling. But life, in its infinite wisdom, will often nudge us, push us, or sometimes even dismantle everything we've become attached to, all in an effort to guide us toward greater alignment. The unknown becomes the doorway to our destiny. It is in the unknown that your true power begins to awaken. When you no longer have a map, you begin to trust your inner compass. You tune into your intuition, your inner voice, your divine connection. You start to ask yourself questions that matter. Who am I without my past? What do I truly desire? What would I do if I wasn't afraid? These questions open the door to possibility. Embracing the unknown is not about reckless abandon. It's about inner trust. It's not about having all the answers. It's about listening to the quiet whispers of your soul. When you walk forward in faith, even when you cannot see the path, you declare to the universe, I am ready, and the universe responds, guiding, rearranging, and supporting you in ways you may never have imagined. The unknown strips away illusions. It reveals what truly matters. It asks you to rely on inner strength rather than external structure. It invites you to create rather than cling. In the unknown, your soul becomes expansive. Your spirit becomes awake. The moment you stop resisting what you cannot control, you give yourself permission to evolve. Feel the vastness of the unknown not as emptiness, but as space. Space for growth, for new connections, for deeper love, for ideas you haven't dared to imagine yet. The unknown is like a blank canvas waiting for your expression. What will you paint? What story will you tell with your life? Every moment is an invitation to co-create with the universe. This path requires patience. When you let go of certainty, it can feel like standing in a dark room waiting for the light to come on, but in that dark room, something beautiful is already happening. You are becoming more tuned to yourself. You are learning to walk by faith, not by sight. You are discovering that your spirit does not need the external world to validate its path. It knows deeply and instinctively that everything will unfold in divine timing. The unknown is part mystery, part miracle. It's where fear and faith meet, and often it is the birthplace of your greatest revelations. Think of the moments in your life that changed everything, the decisions that altered your path, the risks that led to new adventures, the endings that birthed new beginnings. Every one of them arrived through the gateway of the unknown. So instead of resisting the unknown, begin to revere it. Welcome it with curiosity instead of dread. Ask yourself, what if something wonderful is waiting for me beyond this? Let excitement grow alongside the uncertainty. Let faith hold your hand when fear tries to take over. The unknown is not your enemy. It is an ally guiding your soul into its next evolution. The truth is, every moment is unknown. We only pretend it isn't because we crave control. But life was never meant to be fully controlled. It was meant to be lived, experienced, and co-created. When you embrace the unknown, you allow life to surprise you. You open the door to miracles. You are capable of walking this path with grace. You are stronger, wiser, and more connected to the divine than you sometimes remember. Trust the unfolding. Lean into mystery. Let the unknown be the place where your spirit expands into its fullest expression. The first step begins with surrender. The next step unfolds in trust. And before you know it, you will look back and smile at how everything fell into place. Not because you had all the answers, but because you were brave enough to walk into the unknown with an open heart and unwavering faith. Healing through acceptance is one of the most profound and transformative journeys you can ever take. It is not a destination, but a continuous unfolding of awareness, compassion, and grace. To accept something does not mean you approve of it or agree with it. Acceptance is the act of making peace with what is, so that you can free yourself from the burden of resistance and begin to heal from a deeper place. We often hold on tightly to pain, not because we want to suffer, but because we believe that if we resist what has happened, we can somehow change it. We replay experiences in our minds, wishing we could rewrite the past, thinking that if we stay angry, hurt, or confused, we can make sense of it or control the outcome. But resistance only prolongs the suffering. It keeps us stuck in a loop of what-ifs and if-onlys, and in doing so, we deny ourselves the peace and healing we truly deserve. Acceptance is the softening of that resistance. It is the moment when you stop fighting reality and simply breathe into it. This does not mean you abandon your feelings. On the contrary, acceptance invites you to feel your emotions fully, without judgment, without shame. You are allowed to grieve, to be angry, to mourn, to cry. These feelings are not obstacles to healing. They are gateways. Acceptance allows you to move through your emotions gracefully, rather than becoming trapped by them. There is a sacred power in saying, "This happened, I do not like it, I did not choose it, but I choose peace." This simple yet profound shift opens the door to healing. It reconnects you with your inner strength, your resilience, and your capacity to rise above circumstances. When you accept what has occurred, you regain the energy that was poured into resisting it. That energy becomes a resource you can now use to rebuild, to grow, and to nurture yourself with love. Healing through acceptance also involves letting go of the need to make sense of everything. Some things in life may never be fully understood. The loss, the betrayal, the injustice, they might not come with explanations that soothe your pain, but acceptance teaches you that you don't need all the answers to move forward. You can find peace in the present moment, even if the past remains unsolved. You can allow the mystery of life to exist without letting it define your worth or your future. Acceptance is also profoundly forgiving, not just of others, but of yourself. We often blame ourselves for what we didn't know, what we should have done, or how we reacted in moments of pain. But acceptance reminds you that you acted from the level of awareness you had at the time, that who you were then was doing the best they could with the knowledge and emotions they carried. Healing blooms when self-blame turns into self-compassion. As you accept your past, you create space for new experiences in the present. Your heart becomes lighter. Your energy becomes clearer. The wounds begin to lose their power over you, and what once felt like a scar becomes a source of strength, a reminder of how far you've come. Acceptance doesn't erase the pain, but it transforms the relationship you have with it. The pain becomes a teacher, a mentor, a mirror that reflects your growth. Every time you choose acceptance, you break the cycle of suffering. You create a small opening for light to enter. It is not a one-time choice, it is a practice. There may be days when acceptance feels out of reach, when the pain is too raw or the memory too fresh. That's okay, be gentle. Healing is not linear. There will be dips and rises, pauses and breakthroughs, but with each breath, with each moment of honest reflection, you move closer to freedom. The true beauty of acceptance is that it aligns you with reality, not the harsh reality you may fear, but the sacred truth that everything is happening for your highest good. Even the challenges hold blessings. Even the wounds carry wisdom. Acceptance reminds you that you are not broken. You are becoming. Healing through acceptance is an act of profound love for your past self, your present self, and the self you are still becoming. Stand in that love. Let it embrace you. Take a deep breath. You are healing moment by moment simply by accepting what is and trusting that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. To affirm your trust in the journey is to embrace life with an open heart and a steady spirit, even when the path ahead is unpredictable. It is to recognize that every step, whether filled with clarity or confusion, joy or sorrow, is guiding you toward the highest expression of your soul. Trust is not passive. It is an active and courageous declaration that says, I believe in the wisdom of this moment, even if I cannot yet see the full picture. Every journey begins with a single breath, a single choice to move forward, and in that movement there is an invitation to let go of the need to control every aspect of your life. Control may sometimes feel comforting, but it also creates tension. It traps you in the illusion that your safety depends on your ability to predict and manage every outcome. But life is not meant to be controlled. It is meant to be experienced. Trust is the release of that grip. It is saying, I may not know what's coming, but I am open to receiving whatever is meant for me. When you trust, you tap into a deeper rhythm, the rhythm of divine intelligence that is always at work, even when the surface feels still. Trust allows you to rest in the flow instead of fighting against it, and in that rest, healing and transformation unfold. Affirming your trust in the journey begins with choosing to believe that you are supported, always. The universe is not random. It is purposeful, loving, and responsive to the energy you carry. When you affirm your trust, you align your energy with that loving support. You lift yourself above fear, doubt, and resistance. You become a co-creator with the divine, instead of a lone traveler fighting against the tides. Let your affirmations be gentle reminders that you are not alone. Say to yourself, everything is working out for my highest good. I am guided, even when I cannot see the way. I release fear and welcome peace. These words are not empty. They are energetic keys that unlock deeper levels of awareness. When spoken with intention, they shift your consciousness from worry to wonder, from uncertainty to inner knowing. Trust is built through experience. Think back to moments in your life when you didn't know how things would work out, but somehow they did. Think of the days when you were guided to a choice that later made perfect sense. These are not coincidences, they are confirmations. The same loving intelligence that guided you then is guiding you now, and it will continue to guide you as long as you are open to receive. The journey is not always smooth. There will be moments when the ground feels shaky, when the path appears blocked, when confusion clouds your vision. These are not failures, they are invitations. Invitations to pause, to breathe, to reconnect with your inner wisdom. Trust is not about avoiding obstacles. It is about knowing that every challenge carries a lesson and every delay holds a blessing. Let trust become your anchor when the seas of life become rough. Return to your breath. Place your hand over your heart. Feel the pulse of your life. That pulse is proof that you are here for a reason. You are not a mistake. You are not behind. You are not lost. You are growing, learning, evolving. You are exactly where you need to be, even if the reason is not yet clear. Affirmations are your spiritual muscles. They grow stronger each time you use them. Repeat them when your faith wavers. Whisper them when you feel alone. Declare them when doubt tries to take hold. I trust that I am on the right path. I trust that life is working for me, not against me. I trust that I am becoming who I am meant to be. Let these words become a steady drumbeat within your soul. Remember, trust does not mean you will never feel fear. It means your faith becomes stronger than your fear. It means that even in uncertainty, you are willing to keep going, to take the next step, even if the step after that is still invisible, to believe that a loving force is always guiding, always protecting, always working for your good. Affirm your trust daily, moment by moment. Let it shape your thoughts, your actions, your decisions. Let it lead you out of anxiety and into alignment. Every journey has its obstacles, but trust turns those obstacles into stepping stones. And every stepping stone leads you closer to the life you are meant to live. You are safe, you are supported, you are loved. Trust the journey, not because you know what's next, but because you know you don't walk it alone.